Hey, y'all. Happy President's Day. We will be referring to one of those people as former president because, well, that's what he is today. When we talk about this, this will actually become a multi-part series because the further I looked, the more connections there are. So this will be definitely a multi-part series. We're going to kick it off today. We're going to dive into Scientology and its connections to former President Donald Trump, aka Orange Jesus himself. So let's get going. All right, y'all. We are going to grunge truck. It really is. We are going to dive into this lightly. Just so you guys know where we are headed. Sorry, my hair's a mess today, and I don't care. It's the kids' day off, so we have appointments. But hey, are you gelling? Any update on Scotty? Is he still in? Hey, Pika, Helen, Cash. Yeah, Cash, I ended up fighting with insurance, so thank you, Cash. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so much. Hey, Am. Hey, Britt. Hey, T. Grunge Truck. All right. All right, here we go. And no offense if you like him. None at all. Everybody has their own personal feelings on him. You too could get your free Trumpinator bobblehead doll. I mean, I shared with you guys last week how to go about getting it. If you like Trump, this isn't a take a shot at you guys at all. This is called just how Scientology connects themselves to some of these people in power and politics, just like we talk about with the LDS Church and Tim Ballard and kind of how all that goes. Now this, because this is so deep, this is much further than just like one person that connects to Trump or one big donator. And a lot of this we're going to go back and look at through the last campaign to kind of lay out where things are today in his alignments with some of these people. For those of you that don't know, the live we did last week where we talked about Elena Cardone and Marisol Nichols. Marisol Nichols is a Scientologist. Elena Cardone and Grant Cardone are a Scientology couple, very wealthy Scientology couple. But Trump was fined $355 million. Here nor there. Hey, Tim, welcome in. Hey, Marion. Hey, Mary. But that fine was from the court, okay? It's not up for us to decide right, wrong, indifferent. He was fined by the court, okay? That's here nor there. We're not going to debate this because, oh, Lord bless it. Let's just not. But Elena Cardone started a GoFundMe right after he was charged with this penalty. Elena Cardone started a GoFundMe for former President Donald Trump for $355 million. Okay. Her and her husband, Scientologists. Here's one of my questions. First and foremost, don't they have a 501c3? I'm pretty sure Grant Cardone has the Grant Cardone Foundation. In fact, I'm positive. Is that why it's in Elena's name and not Grant's? Because 501c3s cannot participate in any type of political money, anything? Is that why it's in Elena's name and not Grant's? But Grant's promoting it? I got some questions about the inner workings of all that stuff because that's really interesting to me. But then you take it back a notch and you can lay in the people. You can, yeah. 501c3s have a strict no policy with political anything. And Grant Cardone has the Grant Cardone Foundation, which is a 501c3. And he donates to all these other big organizations. Is that why it's in Elena's name? I'm just curious. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up so you guys can know what I'm talking about. And then we'll pull up. Maybe we'll do a 990 search on grants. By the way, for those of you that don't know about 501c3s and their public filings, you can absolutely, let me pull this one here. Oh, there goes my thumb again. You can absolutely look for any 501c3's information through ProPublica. It's a free website. Anybody that files taxes under a 501c3, you can look at that through ProPublica. Just like the Aftermath Foundation, you can look at all of that. Okay, so we're going to go to the Hill, even though I don't care for this. We're just going to go over here. GoFundMe launched to help. Let me make sure you guys can see it. Yep, you can. It's going to have a lot of ads. To help pay Trump's legal fees, the wife of an investor has launched a GoFundMe to help former President Trump's mounting legal expenses in the wake of Friday's verdict in the New York fraud case. The GoFundMe has a goal of $355 million, the amount that Judge Arthur ordered Trump to pay in penalties in his civil fraud case. And as of Saturday night, the GoFundMe had already raised more than $185,000 from 4,000 donors. With interest, Trump and his business could pay more than $450 million, according to the New York Attorney General's office. The online fundraiser was started by Elena Cardone, the wife of investor Grant Cardone, entrepreneur and investor. I stand unwaveringly with former President Donald Trump in the face of what I see as an unprecedented, unfair treatment by certain judicial elements in New York, Elena Cardone wrote on the GoFundMe page. She continued, the recent legal battles he faces are not just an attack on him, but an attack on the very ideals of fairness and due process that every American deserves. Remember, she's a Scientologist. Remember, Scientology has had a history of aversion to paying taxes and fines and anything with the government. They're kind of anti-government. That's how they market themselves, when in reality, that's really not the case. But we're going to look into that a little bit further, too. That's why this is going to end up being multiple parts. The Friday financial penalty comes shortly after Trump was ordered to pay $83.3 million when a judge determined last month that Trump defamed writer E.G. Carroll. Trump was previously ordered to pay Carroll $5 million last year. If you don't know what that's about, that's over the sexual assault. Trump's attorney slammed the Friday verdict, calling it politically fueled witch hunt, and said the former president will be appealing the ruling. Okay, so you can see that Elena Cardone created this GoFundMe. Let's go over here and look. It's up to, holy shit. That's okay. It's up to $500,000. Alrighty, look at this. Oh, can you guys see it when I switched? Hold on. You guys can't see it. Hold on. Let me share this one. I switched off the screen. Look at this shit. Stand with Trump. Fund the $355 million unjust judgment. It's up to $500,000. My name is Elena Cardone. I am the wife of Grant Cardone, mother, and an ardent supporter of American values and advocate for justice. Elena, why don't you want to talk about Scientology and the alleged human trafficking that goes on in Scientology and the child labor laws that are broken by Scientology? If you're such an advocate for justice, I stand unwaveringly with former President Donald Trump in the face of what I see as an unprecedented and unfair treatment by the certain judicial elements in New York. The recent legal battle he faces are not just an attack on him, but an attack on the very ideals of fairness and due process that every American deserves. Now, remember, they're a part of the organization that frivolously sues people to no end, in my opinion, to try and break them. So them supporting this kind of thing doesn't surprise me. It's a moment that calls into question the balance of justice and the application of law, disproportionately aimed at silencing a voice that has been at the forefront of advocating for American strength, prosperity, and security. Oh my goodness. In standing with Trump, we are upholding the cause of every business owner and entrepreneur who believes in the fight against the system that is increasingly seeks to penalize dissent and curb our freedoms. The fact that a business owner did a loan with the bank, never defaulted, nor missed a payment, pays back the loan with interest, and caused no financial damage to anyone, yet the government overreaches and slaps a business owner with $355 million ruling should terrify all business owners and entrepreneurs. Is this government seizing assets, seeking financial ruin? It's interesting that you care about what's happening to former President Trump, but you haven't cared about all the citizens that the government have seized assets for over the however many decades, and have done this legal seizure of assets to many people, millions of dollars, and no recourse. That has been happening forever, but you only give a shit now that it's happened to President Trump, you claim? What, that's not even what happened to him. There's a whole lot more to that. And I mean, we can go into the meat and potatoes of why he got fined if you really want to, but I'll just sit on a soapbox for about 3 hours explaining the ins and outs of it, because it's sadly our courts ruled the way they did for a reason. This is more than a legal fund. It is a call to business owners and entrepreneurs to rally in defense of all businesses, and for a man who has never hesitated to stand in defense of us. Who's he defending, Elena? Because he's really not defending anything that I stand for. This fundraiser, therefore, is not merely about raising the ruling amount. It's about making a stand. It's about showing what, when one of us is targeted for championing the values that make America great, he does not stand alone. We stand with him, shoulder to shoulder, ready to support, defend, and fight back against a system that threatens to undermine the very foundations of our republic. Now more than ever, it's time for business owners and entrepreneurs to unite, to show our collective strength and resolve. Let's stand with Trump to ensure that justice prevails and that we continue to fight for a country that respects freedom, honors, and courage, and rewards the unwavering spirit of its people. Elena, one question, bitch. You don't seem to stand with sexual assault survivors, do you? Because a court found him guilty of sexual assault. The statute of limitations had ran out for the criminal aspect, but he was fined and found guilty by the judge. So you stand with business owners who use their power and wealth to get away with sexual assault? That's what you're telling me? I want to read something for those of you that say I'm so freaking woke. I'm so woke. I'm going to read you something from my buddy Mitt Romney, Republican Mitt Romney from Utah, who I, over time, have seen some, not really sure that I agree with him on everything he says usually. Me and him kind of go back and forth with what our views are. But let me grab this right quick. All right. This interview right here. Okay. I don't either, I really don't either. I don't either. And again, I would be saying this, doesn't matter who it is, any politician, I would say the same shit to all of them. I don't have a personal vested hate in Trump. I don't have a love for Biden. Let's clear that right now. I have a like for the truth and standing by victims who people in power and wealth continue to silence and victimize over and over again, like wealthy Scientologists seem to do. And these humanitarian causes that they all align themselves with when it's something fitting for them, but then they don't really do anything to help the cause ever. So for those of you that don't know, Mitt Romney is an old school Republican. I know, shocker, right? And I agree with his take on this. Shocker. It can happen. You can see all sides of things and figure out bits and pieces and not have to be, oh, I'm so woke. I'm a flaming liberal. Or I still got my head up my ass. I'm sporting MAGA like Betty. I mean, you don't have to be that way, but seems that that's kind of where we are in this society. But let's read this, because I never highlight Republican voices. That's what I was told. So we're going to highlight a Republican voice that I happen to agree with. Romney not going to run for president shoots down Manchin rumors. All right. Buckle up, friends. This might get a little rough. This is from KSL out of Salt Lake. Senator Mitt Romney is not going to run for president in 2024, the former Republican presidential nominee reiterated Thursday. During a visit to Utah State Capitol, Romney emphasized that he is not considering another run for the White House, even as rumors swirl of a potential campaign alongside Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, one of Romney's close colleagues. Manchin has repeatedly floated the possibility of an independent presidential campaign offering U.S. voters another choice besides former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden, the probable major party nominees. At an event in Cleveland this week, Manchin again spoke of an independent presidential campaign as a possibility before adding, hypothetically, if I was picking my running mate, really who I would ask right now is Mitt Romney, NBC reported. When asked about Manchin's comments Thursday, Romney was lighthearted. Well, that's really presumptuous, Romney said. I would be the president. He would be my running mate. Romney, who ran for president in 2008 and 2012, quickly reiterated that he is not interested in launching a third campaign. No, I'm not going to run for president, he said. Certainly, I'm not running for vice president, but Manchin is. Kind of to say that we're good friends. Kind of say that we're good friends. Romney emphasized his close relationship with Manchin. The two have worked together among a bipartisan group of senators to secure several legislative victories, including the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the Respect for Marriage Act, and the bipartisan Safer Communities Act. When asked if he plans to make an endorsement in this year's presidential race, Romney said he does not have plans for that at this stage. I will not be voting for former President Trump, he added. But let's continue to look and see why would he have said that? Hold on. Let me go to the other one, because there's another one that I want to read. I might have to send it to myself. Give me 1 second. Because he slammed. So I wanted to open there. And then I want to read you. Okay, here it is. Let me go down here. Let me see if they have that one linked. Open you guys there. Okay, let me switch out. Hold on. Give me 1 second. We had to start with the first one to walk us in for full context. I don't want you guys to feel like I'm leading you on and not giving you what was said right before this. Because he also slams Biden a little bit in this next one. So okay. We should have the right one up now. Yeah. Okay. We're getting there. Let me pull it full screen. All right. Senator Mitt Romney weighs in on Biden's age and competency. Visiting state lawmakers. Let me just make sure. Because what he said, oh, is it not going to be? Hold on. He makes this statement. Let me find if this is the one. God dang. They chopped all these up into, that's what they did. Okay, hold on, you guys. They chopped them up into each individual. It's not all in this one long one. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to my feed and see if I can just pull up the one over here. Because they chopped him into multiple. Okay, here. They chopped it all up into individual. I don't like Manchin either, but you'll see what I'm getting at here in a minute. If I can get it to pull up. I've got it on my phone. Here, I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to read what it says. Okay. So you heard what he said about the whole court thing. So this is the same thing. They just chopped it up into multiple articles of Mitt Romney. So it's easier reading for this. West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, a good friend of Utah Senator Mitt Romney, announced on Friday morning he would not run for president. The same day, Romney was surprised to hear the news during a press conference at a passport fair in Salt Lake City. Did he say that? Romney asked, before joking that Manchin might change his mind. Earlier in the week, Manchin floated the idea of Romney as his pick for vice president, but the following day, Romney said he's not going to run for president in 2024, and especially not as Manchin's vice president. Okay, so you got the gist of why I read you the first one. It goes on to say, there are a number of people who ran for president in the Republican primary. I would have voted for all of them, other than perhaps Vivek. Got to agree there. And would have been happy to see them lead our party, the Utah senator said. He said he feels the same about several Republican governors and senators. I just think that in the role of president, you want someone of judgment and capacity, but also someone of character, because the character of the individual who leads the country will help shape the character of the entire country, Romney said. President Trump, apart from the lawsuits that have concluded, and from what we already know about him, has a deficit of character and has a significant impact on our kids and the national psyche. Are you guys fighting in here? If you are, probably the wrong place. I don't like the orange Jesus, and nobody's ever going to change my mind. Anyways, a New York judge ordered Trump on Friday and his company to pay $355 million in damages. This ruling also barred Trump from serving on the board of any New York company. Comes after a 3-month-long civil fraud trial over allegations that his company's financial statements were exaggerated and fraudulent. Trump has been indicted 4 times and faces other criminal charges related to hush money payments, withholding classified documents after leaving office, and attempting to overturn the 2020 election result. The legal challenges that former President Trump has will work themselves out in the courts, Romney said. I'm sure he will appeal at great length. Romney reiterated his position. Some might call me old-fashioned. This is what, right here, listen up. This is the part I want you to hear. Right here. From one of former President Trump's colleagues, a Republican Party member, an old school conservative. This is what he says. Romney reiterated his position. Some might call me old-fashioned, but for me, I draw the line at sexual assault when I think about who I want to have as the president of the United States. He said, related to a civil case that Trump brought by writer E.G. Carroll, in which the jury found Trump liable for defaming and sexually abusing her. He added that while he does not support Trump, he agrees with him on many policies. That's okay. That's okay to do. That's okay. At least he realizes the court found him liable for defaming and sexually assaulting her. The statute of limitations had ran out on the sexual assault case. Otherwise, he'd have probably been indicted on that too, I'm assuming. At least somebody has the common sense to say, I draw the line there. That is where I draw the line. We can agree on policy, but I do not support anybody that uses their power and authority to sexually assault a single person. Thank God somebody in that goddamn GOP can say it. because it's disgusting. And it's disgusting to hear people like Elena Cardone fucking, sorry, not going to be nice about it. Marisol Nichols, Tim Ballard, all of them claim that they stand for victims, that they're trying to help trafficking victims. Meanwhile, ignoring the alleged abuses of Scientology, meanwhile, using other victim stories that they have nothing to do with, and then supporting a politician who sexually abused somebody. Get the fuck out of here with that. Like that is the most ignorant bullshit I can ever. Anybody that sits there and defends this shit at this point, you're not for victims, period. You're a part of a cult. Which one? MAGA or Scientology or Mormon, or which one? Now, let's tie Trump into some of these Scientologists. So now that you got Elena Cardone, who claims she stands with victims, meanwhile, she doesn't. You can read the rest of that article on KSL too. They broke up. There's probably 20 different articles that they broke up. Initially, they had it all in one, but they broke them up into many. So feel free to read that. It's on KSL. But I was proud of Mitt for saying that. I was really proud for Mitt to come out and say, that's where I draw my line. That is my line. I can agree with you on policy. I can agree with you on certain things like that, but I can't support you. I can't support you. Sexual assault, no joke. Somebody hasn't lost their goddamn mind, at least. That is one thing I have to say. But Elena Cardone, a high-ranking Scientologist, supporting Trump. Why do you think she would ever want Scientology brought down? She doesn't. Of course they don't. Because it's a way of funneling, in my opinion, a bunch of money around into all of these different. There's a lot of benefit with this, but let's continue to go. So we're going to go back to 2017 for a little bit of a deeper dive. We're going to kind of bounce around a little bit because I need you to understand the full gravity of how Trump leveraged himself in with Scientology. So initially there was text messages that were sent to Leah Remini by a Trump staffer, affiliate, somebody a part of that, which I do have it all here. But that Trump wanted to have the IRS reinvestigated. Well, that gets a little messy in that whole statement and having a Trump even attempt to do that. But that was before he took office. So he kind of made these things known that he wanted to, support an investigation into Scientology. Then meanwhile, while that's being spread around that he wants to have that looked at, gaining voters of the ex-Scientologists who have been abused, in my opinion, then something happens and that little sector of Scientology in Hollywood turns red during the vote. It says Trump won this little chunk of Los Angeles where half the voters are linked to Scientology. It surprised no one last fall when Los Angeles and California at large overwhelmingly backed Hillary Clinton in her failed bid for the presidency. By the way, I'm not a Hillary supporter whatsoever. Could not have, not at all. Just 7 of the city's 1,700 precincts went for Donald Trump. But while nearly all the surrounding region voted for the Democratic former Secretary of State, one little chunk of Hollywood, best known for the Church of Scientology's Big Blue complex, went red, picking the Republican billionaire instead. The precinct, wedged between Hollywood Boulevard and Fountain Avenue, tipped to Trump by just 3 votes, 347 to 344. It marked the first time since at least 2000 that the area went Republican. In 2012, President Barack Obama defeated Governor Mitt Romney by 81 votes, 316 to 235. I honestly can't begin to fathom how or why that happened, said Aaron Lee, a precinct voter and one of several Clinton supporters who said they were shocked to learn that Trump had carried their neighborhood. How can that be? Asked Lamel Balagat, another local voter. I went for Hillary, and everyone I know besides me went for Hillary. Who were the Scientologists for? Good question, and that's not one easily answered. Voting records don't reflect how individual ballots are cast. The church, like other tax-exempt religious groups and nonprofit organizations, is barred by law from participating in political campaigns and assiduously avoids taking sides in elections. The church does not engage in election activities and cannot do so, Scientology spokeswoman Karen Powell said in an emailed statement. Such decisions are not a matter of faith. The creed of the church makes it clear that Scientology is open to all. This would include anyone, regardless of their race, color, creed, or political affiliation. Do you remember when we talked about a little bit of the overlap of the Nation of Islam with the Church of Scientology? Some of that's going to come up in these segments that we do on Trump's connections to Scientology, just so you guys are aware. Church members and others in the neighborhood said there was a little advertising or campaigning for either presidential candidate, and none of them knew of related to the church. And none they knew of related to the church. Nor did voters with stated Scientology ties appear to contribute significantly to either side. One man who listed his occupation as public relations for the church contributed $28 to Trump campaign election records show. Powell said that nothing in the Times analysis of the results suggests a significant difference in the general leanings of the American people, noting that Trump won by just a few votes, with neither candidate landing a majority. She also said the Times findings inaccurately suggest a unique trend about a single religion. Of course, they always got to feel like they're being pointed out. Scientologists live and work in many other precincts in Los Angeles, like where the Celebrity Center is and the Gold Base, those areas. The church remained neutral in the presidential election, as we always do. We support this country's electoral process and America's representative form of the government and respect the right of parishioners, our staff, and clergy to vote for the candidate of their choice. The Trump campaign did not respond to requests for comments. I wonder why. Of the roughly 1,100 voters registered in the precinct, about half list addresses of Scientology properties. More than 250 voters listed addresses on L. Ron Hubbard Way, named for the science fiction writer who founded the church in 1954 and parlayed his self-help system, Dianetics, into a worldwide religion without a deity. Some 170 voters in this precinct listed phone numbers as Scientology organizations as their primary numbers, according to the Times analysis. Although phone numbers are not required, statewide voter registration records show that the most common one listed in California belongs to the church. So does the second most common number, and the fifth and the sixth. Church staff members list whatever phone numbers they choose, Powell said. I couldn't speak for them. Many, but not all, have cell phones. Perhaps you should look at the voting trends of the religious orders of their faith to see what phone number they may list or whether they vote. Few of those contacted by telephone or on public sidewalks near the landmark Scientology building, a former hospital on Fountain Avenue that serves as their church's West Coast headquarters, would speak for the record about their votes. Two women who identified themselves as church representatives approached a Times reporter on several occasions and told her she was making parishioners feel harassed and uncomfortable by asking questions, and then hovered nearby. A few times, church security guards rolled up on their bicycles. One suggested to a church member that he move along to his next course. We don't talk to the press, the member said. Several spoke with reporters on condition of anonymity or using only their first names. None said there were any concerted effort by the church, its members, or staffers to push for one candidate over the other. Scientologists are very conservative socially, said one church member who voted for Clinton. Scientologists are very conservative in terms of economics and business. It really does make sense that it would be more aligned with the Republican Party. He said that based on his perceptions of the political leanings of the church and its members on conversations with acquaintances, as well as Scientology's postings on Facebook and Twitter, they were divided between pro-Trump stuff that's anti-government and seeing Hillary as part of the establishment, seeing Hillary as part of the elite, he said. Part of it was pro-Trump. A lot of it was more anti-Hillary. Among those who did proffer a theory for publication was James Cronwell, a registered Republican who lives on L. Ron Hubbard Way, and he said he knew why the precinct went for Trump. Scientology is the number one foe of psychiatry, he said, adding that he and others in the church perceived Clinton to be an advocate for psychiatric programs. Cronwell, a carpenter who said he's been a member of the church for 40 years, didn't vote for either Trump or Clinton. Instead, he was one of about 50 in the area who cast their ballots for Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson. I wanted to at least make some kind of statement if I could, he said. So this was from the LA Times, and this was from 2017. So you can kind of see how they started to kind of fall in line, okay? So the church is not supposed to have any sort of affiliation. Again, 501c3s cannot be involved in political, but kind of giving a bigger picture of even if Trump had connections, would Scientology people vote, Scientologists vote for Trump? You see that they did go red and that won. Okay, no big deal, right? Well, let's continue to look a little bit further. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this too. Oh yeah, this one's fun. Let's go over here right quick. So there is a book on Amazon you can buy. Just going to show you this. How Trump Rescued Scientology from the Deep State. On the back, it says, behind Scientology's current notoriety lies an untold story of the government cover-up, CIA infiltration, and the secret hostile takeover. Who does this sound like currently? A former president and a former sci-fi writer. Kind of sounds like they're all kind of going on these theories. In this book, you'll discover a history kept from the media for 50 years that's more intriguing than the Scientology scandals used to keep it hidden. Step into a world where out-of-body travel, remote viewing, telekinesis, and extrasensory perception became a teachable technology, a technology so powerful it threatened the balance of the Cold War and prompted American three-letter agencies to stop at nothing in order to have it for themselves. Find out the real story behind what happened to Scientology for it to become what it is today. What really happened to L. Ron Hubbard in 1972 when he stopped making public appearances, and how President Trump is setting the story straight. Are we using this opportunity to turn the tide? You can buy that book on Amazon, just so you know. Just so you know. I thought that was hysterical, though, because I was like, Trump rescued Scientology from the deep state. What? What kind of bullshit is this these days? All right. Now we're going to look at 2020. We're going to kind of bounce around like I told you guys. So we've seen that, okay, they're not supposed to have any type of involvement, but I wanted to go over here right quick and talk about this, because even though they're not like in line, we know that Scientology has a lot of wealthy parishioners, a lot. There is a lot that donate lots of money to Scientology. That's why Scientology loves these people, because they're multi-million donors. So this is from September of 2020. Florida Scientologist becomes a huge Trump donor. So we heard in that article in 2017 that only one Scientologist had donated $28 to Trump and the candidates, you know, in his endeavor. Well, now we look at this. Politico Pro, which you can go look at all this stuff yourself. And I'm sure the numbers have changed. I'm sure there's been more stuff added. We're going to do a whole thing on Leah Dundas, because she's the insurrectionist, in my opinion, who is an attorney and an activist, a Scientologist, and a complete shit show, which I'll probably get banned for, because I'm going to play her speeches that she gave about hanging and shooting people out back. Yeah, during the January 6th stuff. You know, the insurrection that people are still trying to not call an insurrection. Okay. Anyways, back to this one. Tallahassee, Trish Dugan, a wealthy Florida Scientologist, has become one of the GOP's top donors. Again, 2020, we're going back and looking at times, including giving $4 million alone to a pro-Donald Trump super PAC campaign finance records show. Dugan and a trust in her name have been each given $2 million to America First Action, the biggest Trump-aligned super PAC of the 2020 cycle. The group has spent more than $40 million on TV ads and airtime reservations so far this cycle in key swing states, including Florida. So we won't see the numbers of this year and the stuff until after. So we kind of had to go back and look at some of that. So we know that Scientologists, big money Scientologists, are donating to Trump's campaign. Again, these are Scientologists, not the Church of Scientology. So they're donating to him. Okay. You think, no big deal. That happens with all of them. All right. I got you there. But this is something that I'm not really that happy with. Let me make sure it's the right one. Going back to his campaign. Let me find it. I have an article about Patton in here. And the text messages. Oh, maybe that's in my next one. Okay, that might be for the next one. So in the next one, I'm going to break down what Patton actually texted Leah Remini, why some of the ex-Scientologists thought that Trump would help them look at tax records, which they can't do. The IRS has to take an independent review and decide that they need an independent review. They need pressure from somewhere. They do, 100%. In my opinion, that's the only thing that's going to bring Scientology down. But here's some more things that I found really interesting. So we're going to save that for the next one because I'm going to do a whole Remini, Paul Patton. When was this one? I'm trying to go in order here. I'm going to separate, and I am separating out. Okay, this one. This is the one I want to do. Yes. Okay. 2017. All right. Got it. Let me share this one with you guys. Sorry, I have 1,000,001 tabs open on my screen right now. Like so many. Okay. So this I found really interesting, and you'll see what I'm building up to. So I kind of wanted to walk backwards a little bit and kind of understand Scientology's political alignments, why, to me, L. Ron Hubbard and former President Donald Trump are a lot alike. And then I want to walk in and specifically point out the different lobbyists who are connected to Scientologists, the different lobbyists and activists who are completely erratic, who hide behind humanitarian causes, such as Leah Dundas, and spread crazy propaganda, who is also a QAnon conspiracy theorist, which, by the way, I didn't know, but there's quite a few Scientologists and ex-Scientologists that are QAnon conspiracy theorists still today, even in the X community. Just be aware. That at first was a little stunning when I started reading and finding things, but it is pretty true. What Scientology can teach us about the GOP. So this is from 2017. Again, we're doing a walk back, kind of setting the stage, because in order to really wrap this up with a bow and kind of like put all factors in, you kind of got to understand the church's political stance, that they're not supposed to have any. They don't really have any political alignments. They're not supposed to. But you'll see that one of Trump's people reached out to Leah with her own, I think, vested interest in hoping that he would take up looking into the IRS stuff. There was some promises made, some things being leaked in the background, but publicly enough because they got out to reporters, of course. So some people were hopeful that voting for Trump would help bring Scientology down. In my opinion, that is absolutely what it was done for. Well, that didn't take nothing happened, and nothing ever came of that. So let's go further. But to understand all of it, the lobbyists are really a problem, in my opinion. Today's Trump applauding Republicans are a little like Scientologists. No offense to ex-Scientologists, but if you're a QAnon conspiracy theorist, please realize that Pizzagate is not a real thing. That I might have a channel recommendation for you guys, though, if you are a QAnon person. Okay, let me start reading this. Today's Trump applauding Republicans are a little like Scientologists. That may sound outlandish, but stay with me. I was like, oh, great. President Trump has plenty in common with L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. Both, for example, asserted that their often out there arguments were grounded in authority. Trump invokes his personal wealth and celebrity as proof of his extraordinary talent and his very good brain. And Hubbard, of course, produced an elaborate pseudoscientific theory, Dianetics, along with gadgets designed to help people implement it as proof of his belief system's veracity. Both Trump and Hubbard offered a pitch that appealed most strongly to people who were socially isolated in the first place. It's telling that during the primary, Trump underperformed in red states where conservatives surely don't feel as isolated as they do in blue states, and lost most of the participatory caucuses to Ted Cruz. And Trump, like Hubbard, has sought to maximize the isolation of his supporters after securing their support. The fake news media works hard at disparaging and demeaning my use of social media because they don't want America to hear the real story. The president recently tweeted, "It's us against the elites," Trump tells his supporters, "and they're lying to you. We're on our own." In my opinion, this really shows how much L. Ron Hubbard and Trump are a lot alike. And that's why it doesn't surprise me that a lot of wealthy Scientologists support his campaign and his political endeavors and his business ventures, because they also believe L. Ron Hubbard was truthful. I mean, really. And if you think about their playbooks of attack, don't defend, the spins that they do, there's a lot of overlap here. All right. Compare that to Scientology, which sequesters many of its most dedicated supporters at Gold Base, a compound outside of Los Angeles. Their letters and phone calls are monitored, noted Lawrence Wright in his 2013 book on the church going clear, and they can listen to the radio or subscribe to newspapers, but may not feel motivated to. News from the outside world begins to lose its relevance when people are outside the wider society for extended periods of time. Now, most religions include claims that seem implausible on their face, often because they seem to be in tension with the laws of physics. As a Methodist, for example, I believe in the Holy Ghost. I can't prove his existence, but I have no reason to try to. It's a matter of faith, not a scientific claim. For that matter, I'm not entirely sure which pronoun the Holy Ghost uses. The Holy Ghost can be understood in a metaphorical way. Scientology is unique in that the matter of theology, it embraces the scientific method. The claims Hubbard made about engrams, damaging, painful memories, are perhaps no more. Let's not butcher this one too. Intrinsically strange than the one I just made about the Holy Ghost, but he's talking about little engrams. His book, Dianetics, is a manual for getting rid of them. They're invisible, so it can be hard to be sure if you did. But that's what the e-meters are for. The central claims of Scientology are, in other words, supposed to be independently verifiable. Trump similarly told his supporters they could expect results. While campaigning, he repeatedly promised to build a wall along America's southern border, for example, and make Mexico pay for it. He has yet to deliver on that promise, of course, and it seems unlikely that he will. And we see what's happening currently with all of that. Perhaps he can compel Mexico to pony up directly or indirectly. Even so, the border between Texas and Mexico is literally a river. Trump can't build a wall on the Rio Grande. The Republican lawmakers and voters still standing shoulder to shoulder with Trump must not be able to see some of this. If they look with clear eyes, indeed, I suspect that they're beginning to feel like Scientologist Jim D., who spent 10 months holed up with L. Ron Hubbard in New York after the latter received word that the government of France was preparing to indict the Church of Scientology for fraud. D. had a long since come to the conclusion that Hubbard was not an operating thetan. Wright wrote, "He was obese and weird and failed to exhibit any of the extraordinary powers that are supposed to be part of the OT arsenal. Moreover, he was under siege by various countries." Accordingly, Wright continued, D started to ask himself questions. Why couldn't Hubbard simply set things straight? Wasn't he supposed to be in control of his environment? How could he be so persecuted and powerless? What was he doing hiding out in Queens, wearing a wig and watching television when the planet needed salvation? In other words, D began to doubt, just as so many Republicans are surely beginning to doubt in the head of their party. Those who endorsed Trump or defended him in public may be reluctant to say so, in part because they fear some kind of retaliatory response from Trump himself or a backlash from the Republican voters. Celebrities once associated with the Church of Scientology have similarly spoken about the difficulties they faced in trying to leave the church and the penalties they incurred after doing so. The thing about such ex-Scientologists, though, is that they're celebrities. Their accounts are accurate, but anomalous. An ordinary public Scientologist can be inconspicuous. Wright wrote, no one really needs to know his beliefs. Public members who quit the church seldom make a scene. They just quietly remove themselves and the community closes the circle behind them, although they are likely to be pursued by mail and phone solicitations for the rest of their lives. After the book's publication, I heard Wright speak on the subject, and he made reference to the price of belief, by which he meant, as I recall, that it's painful to be proven wrong, especially about something like Scientology. You can see the same dynamic with Republicans and Trump. Ironically, this is why I'm doing this, because I'm trying to lay out the foundation, because the crossover between the Church of Scientology and their belief systems and how things run are exactly what we're seeing with the people who have thrown out all reason and are following Trump. Like the cult of Trump has become very similar to the Church of Scientology with the complete lack of reason. And I hate to say that. Again, no hate if you're a Trump supporter, but it's really true with a lot of the people that support. They don't look at facts at all. And I'm, again, equal opportunity hater. Don't like many politicians at all. The president's chronic fumbling, the high-profile face plants may actually have insulating effect on his approval ratings. Americans who supported Trump ignored a lot of warnings to do so, many of them from their own side of the aisle. They may now be psychologically invested in his success, or at least that the warnings they ignored will not be proven correct. In a recent column, Dennis Prager argued that it's actually the other way around. Perhaps he posted, conservatives who still refuse to support Trump are the ones engaged in motivated reasoning. If they hang on to their never Trumpism and the president falls on his face, they can say they were right all along. It has nothing to do with that. And this brings us to a significant difference between Trump's diehard supporters and people who have been sucked into Scientology. Hubbard's claims and Dianetics were never corroborated by anyone in a position to credibly assess them. Wright noted, the scientific community, stupefied by the book's popularity, reacted with hostility and ridicule. The same is not true in Trump's case. Most Republican leaders eventually endorsed Trump's bid for the presidency. Many on the right are still defending him, even if, by their own account, they supported Trump despite their own serious reservations. The thing is, though, that Trump already won the election and put conservative stalwart Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court. Republicans who voted for him in hopes that he would deliver on those promises were not actually wrong to do so, nor would they be wrong to have concerns about other aspects of the new administration. Trump supporters like Prager can blame the skeptics for that all day, but they are the ones who vouched for his ability to make America great again. So you can kind of see the crossover here a little bit between the Trump and Scientology. I hope you can, at least. And we're going to continue on because there's a lot. And in order for me to get you to where we're going to go with this, again, please believe whatever you want, but just be knowledgeable about what you are believing. Okay. Nisi, here's my thing with that. And hi, everybody coming in. Hey, Kay. I have friends that are Trump supporters. I support my friends, and I support their decisions to vote for whoever they want. Most of my friends are actually very in line with my thinking too. We don't support sexual assault. We feel that everybody should have the choice to do what they need to do with their body, females, males, whatever. If their lives aren't affecting us, why should we have a say in it? Like, we're very in line, even if they support Trump. What I can't get down with is on the internet, people who say, fuck Joe Biden and support Trump. And then you ask them why they support Trump. They don't really have a reason. It's because it's part of that whole cult bullshit. Or they try to point out that Betty and other people are wrong about this, this, and this. Meanwhile, they're just like them. I can't run with people who are pro-Trump and all of that aspect because there's only one party that's really trying to eradicate LGBTQ. I mean, you can't sit here and talk about equal rights and victimizing victims. And I mean, let me just say it with my whole fucking chest, okay? If you support former President Donald Trump after it's been proven that he sexually assaulted that woman, fuck you. Basically, I got nothing for you. Don't ever, ever ask me that victims don't deserve voices. I can't do the, well, he didn't, no, it's been proven in court. Again, statute of limitations. He's fucking lucky. I will never support a man who should not be able to, in my opinion, run for office. How many on any party? I can't. I can't even sit in chats with people like that. I can't, because they can't see beyond the Biden versus Trump. It ain't about liking Biden. No. We need somebody in the office that actually represents America. And to me, that's not what we have here. But I'll never support anybody, period. End of story. And if you can support him and say, yeah, wave your flags and fuck Joe Biden and support a man who sexually assaults people, granted, he's not the first, and I'm sure he won't be the last, and you want me to have respect for him, nah, miss me with that bullshit. Anyways, that did feel good to say that shit, really, honestly. Well, I gotta go look and see what you said, because I'm sure. Yeah. And that's what makes me so sad, to see so many people who are ex-Scientologists support this shit. Oh, see, that's some straight up bullshit. And that's what pisses me off, is because the shit Trump sells is about the same shit that L. Ron Hubbard, most politicians, let's be truthful, not just him. But that's why people like Elena Cardone are so big into this. They don't want taxes. They don't want to look, they're not really about the victims. They use these humanitarian efforts like human trafficking, victims of sexual assault, to sound good, to do good. But we've heard Elena Cardone say that if you were sexually assaulted, well, we haven't heard her say it. We've heard that she has said it. Allegedly, she has said that to her people in training classes. I played that clip in the last video. If that's actually what they're saying, and I have heard Grant, there's many clips of Grant saying you've got to own whatever was done to you is your fault. You know, it's a part of your, it's no wonder how Scientology and the Trump stuff works together. And what's really sad to me is I think Trump tried to almost like weaponize the ex-Scientologist community. And I don't know how much he was involved in that, but at least Patton did, by saying, you know, he wants them to be brought down or investigation to be into them over the IRS, knowing that he couldn't facilitate that, but trying to keep them in the clutches. Meanwhile, they had to have been, they're selling something here. Something's going on here. I don't know. The more I dig into this, the more that Trump and LRH are a lot alike. Oh, Helen. They're all, can I just say, and we talk about this, me and my girls talk about this. We are so anti most politicians across the board. And it's because they get in these power positions and most of them have money and they throw everything out the window. And then they use humanitarian crises and say there's invasions and they do all this dancing with their words, and none of them actually do shit. Yeah, it's just crazy though. And why should either one of them be on stage? Can we talk about that for a second? I mean, you guys have heard me go on that, and I'm completely segueing right now. I'm so off. Here's Kiki. Kiki had to come in and show you his ass. I don't care though. Like, this shit's out of control. You've got one who needs assistance getting off stage. Both of them shouldn't, I doubt, could pass competency exams. Truthfully, it's just ridiculous. Anyways, let's go back. So now you've kind of seen the groundwork of where we are here with Scientology and kind of the Trump theories, thoughts, feelings, kind of how that goes, right? So they're not supposed to be. Well, I think I'm going to cut this one in an hour. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this one and leave it here, because the next one we're going to get into, I'm going to pull up Leah Dundas, who is a Scientologist, was at the insurrection, made some horrible statements during the insurrection, claims to be an activist again for humanitarian causes like human trafficking. She's a nut job, in my opinion. And then we're going to talk about some lobbyists who are connected to very wealthy Scientologists who are pro-Trump. And we're going to kind of connect the dots there. And after this segment, what I'm hoping is if I lay enough groundwork, you will be able to see some similarities between Scientology's thinking, their teachings, LRH, Trump situations, and kind of why that will never. I'm not shocked, I guess I should say, that some of them are QAnon conspiracy theorists. Really, I'm not. And that's not disrespect to Scientologists or ex-Scientologists even. But if they believed, most of them, now let me say this too, a lot of them were born into it, so they didn't know anything outside of that. But the ones who bought into this that weren't born into it, we can kind of see how that happened. That's what I'm kind of hoping people will get out of it at the end of it, like how similar the QAnon stuff, the conspiracies, the LRH teachings, they kind of overlap. So why it's not a far-fetched of the support for Trump and the connections. Anyways, there's so much here. I could probably do 16-hour live and we could talk about all of the different connections and the donations. And there's just so many people with power and money in these circles. But the Elena Cardone thing is massive. Yeah, Nisi, I just think I don't have any problem with him as far as I think he's competent. I mean, for that age, a lot of us won't even make it to that age. Let's be honest. For that age, he's doing pretty well. I wouldn't have much competency at that age either. I'll be the first one to say it. I don't even know if I'll make it there. I'm not trying to smash him in any way. I actually think there's been a lot of stupid shit said over him. There's some factual things that I don't agree with, that I don't like about him, but it is what it is. That's pretty much politicians in general. I'd take him any day over Orange Jesus, though. I'm sorry. Sorry, at this point, there's just nothing. No love lost there for me. Yeah, and if people don't think that we are headed for a dictatorship, I want to look into that too. That's some crazy shit. Yeah. Oh, there was another shit. I'll find it and we'll do that one in the next one. There's another article I want to get into that wraps into this whole thing, but it talks about I can't remember which president it was. And I don't want to screw it up, but somebody that was during the whole Operation Snow White. There was 2 or 3 presidents that had made statements on LRH in the past, and I found one of them, and I just can't remember which one it was. I have to find the article again. But it was some really interesting things like from the 70s and 80s that they were talking about. That's why these cults of personalities like LRH, Trump, Joseph Smith, all of those people want to believe in something. It's really kind of scary. And we're going to see a lot of it. Like they're going to really try to up a lot of that stuff this year. It's going to be a wild year. Okay, can we switch gears for 1 minute? Because this is just going to be like the groundwork before we jump into like the real extremes that are connected to Trump. Leah Dundas needs her whole entire, she needs a segment on her own because let me just say she gives me a headache. Such bad. Project 2025. Go look and read Project 2025. Please, please do. That should scare anybody, truthfully. You should really be scared if you've read that and think that that's okay. Okay. Switching gears. I have been exhausted. My girls have been sick last week. We had classes to finish. I am CPR certified again. All of my classes are done. Thank God. So I got all my certifications back. Yay. But we have appointments today, even though the girls are off school. I have to leave here in like an hour, which is great because therapy, wonderful thing. Anyways, this Betty shit. The only thing I've been like really trying to like kind of keep up on is this Audrey Cunningham story. I want to smack the ever-loving shit out of BHB. I mean, you guys know I don't like her to begin with. But we're going to go over it. I made a thumbnail. I was cussing today watching her. I am so disgusted with her. Just the fucking disregard of this being an active situation, an active missing child's case. And she is out there acting a complete and utter fool, using her bullshit to spew more misinformation and slander and defame the parents. You know, she talks about being a parent and she talks about all of these things that parents need to do to protect their children, you know, all this shit. And there has been people taking up for her lately. Poor Betty is bullied. Poor Betty, she's not married. Poor Betty's being bullied. Poor Betty's exploiting tragedies. Poor Betty, I have felt bad for at times because she can't do really anything without getting criticized. There's a reason for it. Because she's a horrible, miserable, wretched human being. I can't imagine having a missing child and having that bitch on the scene, spreading rumors through social media. I have a whole thumbnail ready to go because I have a lot to say off of one of her lives. I watched 20 minutes in and that was all I could take. I was ready to cuss. Well, I was cussing. I was, because this is just it takes a special type of evil to do that. You don't know this family. You don't know the circumstances. The dude has a long, lengthy criminal history. He shouldn't have been in any capacity to be around children, in my opinion. Again, that's a law thing here nor there. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. She claims that she has stepchildren and grandchildren. Audrey Cunningham, then she makes a bold statement about a swastika, which you guys know I'm not a fan of any of that. And yes, he has a long criminal history. And yes, he's not, on paper, it looks very terrible, okay? I'm not pro swastika. But she makes a blatant statement. I'll play it. I'll post maybe we'll do that tonight, and I'll come what she says. But she makes some sort of like derogatory term about a swastika tattoo. Okay, I can agree with you on some of this. But the way she said it, and I'm sitting there going, this bitch is connected to Mike Lindell, who is a part of the Proud Boys, who is a fucking terrorist group. The audacity of this bitch to talk about any type of AB shit. Meanwhile, supporting oh, that's just, I swear, yeah. The ignorance, though, that the way she said it, I'll play it for you guys. We'll do that tonight. Yeah, Nisi, right? Like, it's all fucking connected. And it just, but the audacity of her to say some shit like that, and it's just, I just can't understand it. I don't understand. Hey, Revival. Hey, Donna. Yeah. Oh, it's so gross. Yeah, trauma body, Mary, it's terrible. Oh, really, Am? I know when I came on, they were doing a press conference. I'll watch that, and then we'll come back. I gotta leave here. I gotta drive north. It'll be okay though. Oh, let me tell you before I get off here, because we're just bullshit now. We're not done with the Trump connections to Scientology, though. We barely touched the surface of that. And I started it off by saying this is going to be a multi-series things because there's just too much, and each character needs their own little segment. That's the best way I can do it to try and make it rational, because holy shit, when I first made that notification, I was like, oh, I can connect this person, this lobbyist, this person, this money here. And then I'm like, no. We need to lay the foundation, and then each of these people, what they support, who they are, their connections to this, why that makes sense, why the views are similar, and why more Scientologists would, anyways. My Kyle's, so long story short, Kyle's brother, who passed away of brain cancer, his ex-wife and kids were here for the weekend. One of the kids and the ex-wife, they come down every year, and she's kept the kids in close contact with grandparents their entire lives. Amazing woman, absolutely amazing woman. So her and I went and had a girls' day yesterday. We went to the mall, and then they came over Saturday night for dinner, and we all hung out and watched TV and had dinner, and it was a blast. But I absolutely adore them. So yesterday me and her went to the mall and hung out for a little while, and then we went and played pool and had lunch with the in-laws. It was I got to see my in-laws' cat for 5 minutes. Scared the shit out of her. She ran back into the closet. Finally came out today. So that was, you guys haven't seen me for a while because it's been chaos over here, but it was fun. It was a good time. But we also have another project for you guys. Am, can I give him a preview since there's only a few of us in here? Jared Kushner bought the Jehovah's Witness. Why does that not surprise me? I don't like Kushner either. So for those of you guys that know and have been around a while, you know that Am's monster is being released from custody shortly. And without going into too many details and making it a big, huge thing, which I will be giving more information, and we'll be talking about her story and stuff, but we will be coming to you guys and asking for help to write letters to some people in California. I think the governor's office is one for sure. We need to send letters. There's no reason why this person should be getting paroled. Not at all. If you have not watched Amethyst's story, please go do so. We will be highlighting some of it, but she is going to gather the information of who to write and the location so we can send emails, mail, whatever the case may be, because we really need to get some eyes on this. There's no reason this person should be being released at all. Hey, forgetting to whisper. Yes, Nisi, I will drop her link right now. But she's going to make a post. I will share everything that she does too. But she's going to make, if you guys would help us write letters, that would be very helpful, because we need to, we need to get things moving in the right direction. And this is not even remotely okay that he's being released. There is her YouTube channel link. T, I can text it to you. Yeah, she does. She needs major voices. I originally did not want to release. Oh, hold on. Wrong one. Yeah, we need to get voices out there. Like, I'm really apprehensive about this. Like, anyways. Well, I'm going to do a whole live and talk about that specifically, because it's going to be at the tail end of this, and I want people to really understand what is happening and really just highlight that situation and what we need help with, because I'll be damned. It makes me so mad that California is letting him out. So fucking mad. Yeah, Helen. Yeah, it's terrifying. Terrifying to know that this is. Oh no, that's another one. Oh shit. Ugh. I'll ask Anne. Maybe we'll do that one of these. We need to get it done right away this week. So maybe I will. Yeah, Nisi, I will. We will get together though. She's sick. So send her all the positive love and energy you can. She's navigating a ton. She's got so much shit going on constantly. She's been sick as hell the last few days, sick as hell. So she's trying to navigate a bunch, but I think maybe we'll get the stuff together and do a live one of the nights this week, earlier this week. I should be free Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think. We'll figure it out, and then we will do a live stream and give the details of what's needed, why it's needed, what's going on, all of that kind of like background just on that, so you guys can follow along, because I'm kind of all over the place right now. Right, Helen? Right? Yeah, he's scheduled to be released soon, between March and April. There's no fucking reason he should be being let out. Multi-time offender. And then to be able to be paroled to an ex-con's house that he was in prison with, like, fuck. There's just so much of this shit. The victims really don't have voices, y'all. Like, it's so sad. Yes, we need, I wish, where's the governor's office in Cali? What town is it in? I wish the protesters were close enough to that. Yeah, the youth offender law. Yes, revival, absolutely. Sacramento. Okay. I could have Googled that, but I didn't. I knew you would know right off the top of your head. I wish we had protesters down there that would go make noise out front of the governor's office, honestly, because sometimes that's the best way. I'm about to go knock on the governor's door. Oh, wait a second. I know somebody that knows the governor, Gavin Newsom. Gavin, do you still have your... Maybe I should make a live stream just to Gavin Newsom. Do you still have your condo in Montana? Oh, we'll get it figured out and schedule something early this week, though, in the evening, so she's home. Maybe she can come on with me and we'll talk about it. But anything she shares, I will make sure I share on my page and get the word out. But we absolutely need help getting voices to be heard by the governor in California. We really need help. I am petrified of him being released. And I'm not the victim. Motherfucker. I tell you what, though. It's just so unnecessary. He shouldn't even remotely be okay to see anything but cell bars. All right. Yes, Nisi. We will get the information. I will, when Am's feeling a little bit better, we'll get it all done. Maybe we can even do like a form letter, something, if you guys will help. I know you guys will be, there's so many of you that will be willing to help send letters, emails, and kind of a barrage of things, but I will get back to you guys on everything. Oh, perfect. Got it. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. No, sunflowers were not. We're talking about one of my really good friends and mods. Her monster is being paroled and shouldn't be happening. Amethyst monster is being paroled. He shouldn't even have had a parole hearing until he was in his 90s and he's being paroled. Fucking ugh. And I wish we could arrange that too. We need somebody that's high up in politics that knows Newsom. Not even high up. We just need somebody that knows Gavin Newsom to arrange a sit down with you. Thank you, Helen. Maybe that's what we should do, is start just titling all of our live streams. Anybody know Gavin Newsom? We need Gavin Newsom's ears for a minute. No, he really shouldn't have, Helen. You're right. All right, y'all. I'm going to get off here and run. I just wanted to kind of start laying this out. I'm going to do a buddy stream and talk about that shit. I mean, no. Hey, buddy. What you doing, Cam? Am's putting some details in the chat too. If you guys haven't watched her story, I encourage you to do so. It's hard to watch, but it's her links in the chat. How was school today, kiddo? Oh, you didn't have school. Duh, Becky. Yeah. Yeah, and he is not reformed. He is sadistic. Hey, Pika, thanks for being here. All right, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to take kiddos to therapy, and then I will be back either tonight or tomorrow. And as soon as Am has more information, there was the link though in the chat for the governor's office. If you need information, we'll get more information together and more of like what we're trying to accomplish here, but we need voices to the governor, for the governor to sit down and listen to her and not parole him, because for the safety of everybody. But oh, that's great, Helen. You're good. You're good. I'm forgetting to whisper. I'm both Cardone's twins. Oh, Pika, you know me. I'm good at the divisive topics. I don't sugarcoat shit. All right, y'all. I'll see you guys after a bit. Bye.